We're on. All right.
Awesome.
You have a solution that's recording this meeting? That's amazing.
We
You
Thank you.
you
we
need
are
to email me what
resourceful.
that is.
Okay. So roll call. Jenny, do you want to handle that for your notes?
Sure. I just got a list from Frederic. So Frederic not here. Roger.
Here.
Okay, I don't know if you say here. Nancy, John, Meg, Charles Buck.
I know that there was a death in the family, so that might be why
Okay.
he's not making it.
And then Joe couldn't make it because I think I'm taking his notes. And then I have myself
Okay.
for board
What
member.
about me? Hello.
Jerry.
Carrie,
Area 5.
I'm so sorry, Carrie. Your name's not in here. So I'm just reading off the list. But Carrie is here. My apologies.
It's fine.
Sorry, I can't see. When I'm typing, I can't see the people here.
No
All right.
worries.
Anybody else I'm missing? Okay.
I think you get all of the board members, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So if we are squared up on roll call, we'll move to John with the treasurer's report.
Okay. Bear with me here. This may take a while. So our current balance in the Home Street Bank account is $718.21. The following information was compiled for our June meeting, was not distributed due to the cancellation of the meeting. So the previous paperwork that was submitted to the city of Lake Oswego for reimbursement of $490.53 for our social events and related equipment was received and deposited into the PNA bank account on May 13th, 2024. The specific documents for these transactions were all posted to the Trello board. The request form for the video conferencing subscription, along with the associated invoice and payment receipts, were submitted on June 6th. And the Zoom account invoice was for $159.90. The city of Lake Oswego provides $150 to neighborhood associations for annual video conferencing subscriptions. The paperwork was submitted and accepted during the current 2023-2024 NEP cycle. The reimbursement for the full amount has been received. There were additional reimbursements made to cover the cost of the new yard signs and related equipment, $40 on June 12th. These expenses occurred during the 23-24 NEP cycle, but the NEP reimbursement requests have a $100 minimum. So these reimbursement expenses were paid directly from our PNA bank account. The previous Neighborhood Enhancement Program, NEP, has since been updated for the 24-25 cycle, which the city is now presenting as the funding for neighborhood associations program. The 2024-2025 cycle is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025. And you can refer to the Lake Oswego link that I'll provide to get more information. Basically, go to the Planning, Home, and Neighborhoods page, and it gives a list. So the reimbursements basically fall into two categories. There's pre-approved expenses and resources available upon request. Pre-approved annual limit is $1,000 per neighborhood association, and the resources available upon request are evaluated as they're received. Neighborhoods who have not received funding or not previously received funding are prioritized.
Did you say 1,000 a year?
Yes, per neighborhood
Okay.
association.
Okay. Good.
The neighborhood chair approval is required for all reimbursement requests. PNA had previously considered obtaining additional audiovisual equipment like wireless microphones, projection screens, etc., So we should probably reevaluate our request list for the 24-25 cycle.
Okay, maybe we can put that on the agenda for next time.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
what
exactly.
are our needs
Exactly. And
for the
so,
coming fiscal year?
yeah, and I'll put out the list of the pre-approved items so you can see what we don't have to really ask for. But there is $100 minimum before we can submit a reimbursement request.
Okay.
Okay, so, and as
Okay.
usual, PNA residents are encouraged to donate to our neighborhood association. For information about projected expenses and how to donate, refer to the Get Involved, I Want to Donate page on our Palisades neighborhood.org.
Have there been any recent donations?
website.
I don't think so, but
I have not
no.
received
Okay.
any. No, not since the
Okay.
last report.
All right.
So that's
Thank
it.
you, John. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Jenny, did you get your notes on that? Okay.
And I can send you a list of what I just.
Okay. Great. Thanks, John. So, old business, approval of minutes from previous meeting. Frederick sent out a note earlier today saying, hey, look over the minutes, which what's interesting now is since we don't have a document, it's mostly the recording and a little bit of a document. It really involves a recording. So when it's a recording, how can it be wrong? An actual video recording. But anything that would have been note-taking, I don't know who has that from last time. So that's good. Can we approve the minutes from last time?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve last
I
minutes?
motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Roger seconds.
Okay. Thank you.
All in
Good.
favor?
All in favor?
All of us.
Okay. Wonderful. So next would be our guest speaker. Wait, I'm sorry, not yet. I jumped over one. New business. That is the chair report from Frederick, yet she's not here. So we will have to jump over Frederick's. Frederick's speech and move to our guest speaker, Ken Allen, who, Ken, I see that you're here. Thanks for joining us. You're here to share an update on the Stafford project and the housing development there.
I am. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys. So a couple things. I'm mostly here just to maybe answer a couple questions and take as little time or as much as you'd like. But bottom line is we appreciate the neighbors, the community coming out and doing a series of outreach work sessions. And from that, we came down to basically two concept plans. One of them both of them have cottages and townhomes. So that's kind of the base plan, and we're proceeding ahead with that. There is one option that has a 4-story mixed housing, affordable component to it. And myself and my family and our team has paused right now and have put that to the city and said, if you want affordable housing, you need to change the zoning and basically back it. I'm not interested as a private developer and guy that counts the days to when things get approved because, we can't do anything until we have permits. That could take 12, 18 months, 2 years and have nothing to show for it. So the city needs to step in and step up basically. And if they truly want affordable housing in LO and specifically at this site, then we're willing to move forward on that. It would be good to hear from you guys as to that notion. I have my guess of what the city will do, but who's to say that's the direction?
Good question. What will you do with the spot where the multi-story was planned to be? What will
So if you want, I can share that with you right here. I have it handy.
Yeah, I'm told that only the host can share visuals, but go ahead and try and see if it works.
Yeah, who's the host? Is that you?
Yeah,
Frederick and
we're a little
Pete.
puzzled about that.
Here.
Yeah.
If someone, all you have to do is click the green button and say allow multiple users, whoever has that control. If not,
I don't think any of us have that. That's the problem. We don't really understand why one of us doesn't, but
Well, I think Frederick's the host,
Yeah.
and it says host is disabled part of a participant screen sharing.
yeah. So no worries. But basically, more townhomes and more cottages.
Okay.
So what that would look like from a home count is about 40 to 50 units. Maybe that's too many, meaning because we're constrained by how many we physically can fit with open space, and we're keeping beholding to more pedestrian friendly and open space. I did have lunch with Chris Durkee and 3 or 4 other folks today and shared that, and I said, how about, what do you guys think? And they like the softer, gentler approach of less units, less intense, not 4 stories. And I can see you guys nodding. Yeah, it's obvious that's a much less impactful way.
Right.
And it's 50 less cars coming into the site, or maybe more, because, everybody knows we all have not just one car, or whatever a household has. I don't actually know that number. So yeah, so that's kind of the direction we're going. I am waiting for the mayor and city council to respond, and I'm not an ultimatum kind of guy. I just know that my engineer's at the Tour de France, and he'll be back, not racing, just watching. But he's there for another week, and when he gets back, we're going to move to get our package ready for the probably just the cottages and and the townhomes.
So what does your general timing look like now? You'll submit, and then what?
Well, we are all ready to submit. We have all the requirements in. I thought concurrent to submitting, I thought I'd do one more neighborhood outreach, more so to get last bit of feedback. Also, we've spent all this time talking to the community. I might as well bring you guys and the rest of the folks in on, here's our plan and timing, and this is what it might look like. What's really good about this approach is we don't have to get any zone change. The naysayers that are, just speaking candidly, anti-growth, no matter what we would do there. This is permitted use under the residential zoning, so middle housing allows it. I don't have to get special permission. It all needs to meet code. So to answer your question, Nancy, that's probably a 12-month approval process, and then engineering, and then we have to build. So, we're hope at best next summer breaking ground at best, and probably not likely. This stuff just takes a lot of time. So,
Yeah. Thank you for the update. Q&A, does anyone have questions for Ken? I wonder, Ken, if you can send your diagram to either Chris or Frederick to share with this group so we can look at it after the fact, after the meeting.
Looks like Bill has his hand raised.
Yeah, there's a question.
Oh, there we go, Bill Connors.
Hey, Ken. Just a quick question. If there's been any further discussion with the school board about your proposal for helping develop some parking in the lower field, or is that a non-issue? Is that?
Yeah, it's. I have to be cautious how I say this. I'm not very politically minded or politically correct for that matter, but
we are recording this, by the way. Just
I'm good with that.
Okay.
So the school board, specifically the development manager and the superintendent, are very responsive. Then they go dark. So that's my derogatory statement, is like, okay, now the ball's in their court, and I don't know what they're doing, and they're not responding, no emails, and I don't pester them. I'm not a salesman, so if they don't want me to put parking in and help or solve some of those problems because I'm doing something next door, then it would have been a separate application anyway. We can't have them hinged together because for obvious reasons we don't own the property, and I don't know what the relationship would have been. We were willing to put all the parking in at our cost, and, you know, rent the land forever and ever for $1, and then I have to figure out, well, what do I get out of that? You know, can I get 5 more cottages or something, or some sort of trade of value? But we also didn't really want to eat up all the property, but my intention was to create good for the surrounding community and kind of stamp out the notion that a big building would be there one day, or a massive parking lot. Like, let's just put 100 units parking stalls in. I know it sounds like a lot, but it can fit about 300, you know, if you depends on how you design it. So I don't know if that answers your question, Bill. I'm in the dark right now, like most of us are with the school board.
It does. Thanks for addressing that. I personally think 300 spots would be a good idea, but that's just me. But appreciate you pursuing that, and thanks for taking the question. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're open. We're open to the preschool coming back around if they want to create a spot in the community still. We've always been open to that. We even offered as a family the fun part of it, because we believe in kids in school and specifically their charter. So that's still an open door. Same with the school board, if we can help create some parking. I mean, my sister's up there being principal, and she goes, "Yes, give me some parking, please. I'm so tired of the phone ringing off the hook." So I think it could really help. But go ahead, Gary.
I just have a follow-up question, Kent. So you said it's a separate application for that portion of the build-out, for that part, in that separate application can be done in the future. It doesn't have to be done like right now, but in the future you could do it. So it's like, I guess for me, it's like the question is like, when is that, as we get closer to it, like when is our drop dead on that application process for you? So if we know people in the school board or we're out in the community, we can like talk to them and say, hey, this is happening. So FYI, I just would like to know like when you're really like drop dead on that.
Well, the way, and it's unfortunate I can't show the site plan, but there's the way we're designing the site, we would have cottages on the back side or the west side. So then what I would look at doing is mirroring that. So there'd be another cluster of maybe 6 or 8 cottages. So I'm using my hands as cottages. So our cottages and then the parking lot. And so there'd be maybe 150 parking stalls, whatever the number would fit. What we don't want to do, my opinion, is have a road go through and then back up to Ridge Point. The city will make the school come into the parking lot at Ridge Point, but we don't necessarily want it to connect through the Stafford church property. So maybe this is good in that they would be separate applications. And that door, to answer your question, the door is open. We'd still be happy to do that. The economics need to make sense. But we can build parking privately through an operating agreement with the school board, way cheaper than the school board if they have to go out and do a big bid process.
Sure.
So,
okay, thanks for that.
We're just being good neighbors, and we'll see if that we can,
If you could send your updated diagram to Frederique, that would be, do you have her email address?
I do. Yeah.
And then she can share it with us. She can post it so we can all see where the design is now.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Meg, did you have a question?
So probably more of a comment, because I think the parking lot is kind of becoming less and less possible from the position of the school board. But my concern is having the access through Ridge I always forget the name, Ridge Point Drive, because you'll have a lot of people in that area at Bellaterra that will be fighting the kids coming through, because coming in, a better way to have it is come in off of Overlook.
Yeah, agreed. And all the designs we showed the school board we have to regrade that because it's pretty steep right now, but we had the outfield line coming in a little bit because it's 309 or 310 right now. It doesn't have to be that long. Those kids can't hit that far anyway. If they can, they're heading to the major leagues. So yeah, you can bring it in a little bit, put a 20-foot net up, and you can go up to Overlook, right? And then also pedestrian connectivity. So it feels more part of the campus and less part of the neighborhood. So yeah, good point, Meg.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on with the agenda.
Bill looks like he has another question.
Yeah, just real quick. follow up to Meg's point.
We have to keep it short though, Bill, please.
Yeah. Food for thought. If the JV baseball field were to move to the lower field and the parking were to border overlook, if you flip those, that might make logistics much easier. But food for thought. That's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
Okay, moving to the next. Committee reports, traffic and pathway. That would be Rob Heap. He is not in attendance. Is anyone carrying his report for him tonight? Maybe not. I thought I'd ask.
There is one point I wanted to make. There's going to be a meeting on July 29th for the Meadowlark and Treetop Pathways. I'm just trying to find the email on that.
The Meadowlark what? Sorry?
Meadowlark and Treetop Pathways.
Okay.
They're doing a design meeting July 29th. I believe it's going to be at the, I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be. Looking for where I had the information.
Is it at City Hall or someplace else?
I think it's at City Hall.
Uh-huh. That's usually where the transportation
Oh, there we go.
meetings occur.
It is July 29th. I'm sorry, it's at Lake Ridge High School.
Oh, Lake Ridge. Okay.
Lake
Close
Ridge,
to our neighbors.
4 to 6:30.
Okay. And where is that posted on the city website?
It is on. It's on under the Pathways program, and I think that was under city engineering.
Okay. So if anyone wants to go find that notice, it's on the city website. Okay. Thanks for adding that in. So anything else related to traffic and pathways?
I have something to do with parking. Does that?
Yes.
Is that, okay. So I was emailed by the city of a citywide parking reform committee, community forum. And that's going to be Wednesday, July 24th, virtual at 5 p.m. So I will, I'll post that for the board in Basecamp. So everybody can see it. And Jenny, you can grab it there to capture it in the minutes. And this is virtual. So you have to register.
Great. Anything else related to traffic? And go ahead, John.
As I almost got hit by a car on South Shore while I was walking this past week, I will once again be contacting the city to put up a speed monitoring sign in the next week, just to try to collect more data. I've done this the last couple of years, and it just doesn't seem to help. I'm just trying to keep monitoring it.
They also run the annual traffic monitoring. I think they do that on South Shore. You might even be able to ask for the data that they collected in their annual data collection.
Okay.
In addition to that, not instead of, just to see what's going on. It'll show average speeds and so on.
Well, and all of them are well above the speed limit.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But they ran one, I want to say it was in May. I could be wrong about the timing, but it was fairly recent.
Yeah, that should be online for me to check out.
Yeah.
So.
John, I'm so sorry. That must have been a really scary experience.
Well, you know, people, you know, look at their phones instead of the road, and
True.
so the car came over about a foot over the white line, and just kept going. So.
Yeah. Those white lines are no protection, that's for sure.
No. So it's take your life in your own hands when you're walking on South Shore.
Yes. Okay. Anything else related to traffic and pathways? Okay. Hopefully Rob can make it next time. Regarding the website, the beautiful new website, Joe, you want to take it away?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everybody. my update is going to be short. Just want to give an update on things that have what we've been up to on the website. Hopefully nobody's noticed things, which that would be the ideal, and only notice the good stuff. So just to give an update on things that we have been doing after release of the website, we did find some gaps, some content that didn't make it over, and other things that through more rigorous testing we did find a couple things. In particular, when you're using the site with your phone, sometimes the experience isn't quite as good as it should. So we've spent a lot of time tweaking that, so it's a little more usable, and the things that you need are basically on that first screen on your phone, so you don't have to do a lot of scrolling unless you want to. And then there's a little bit of kind of cross-training with Frederic as well as Carrie. We've taught Carrie how to do posts herself, which is great. And she's just totally, she's got that like a pro now, so no problem there. And then for more advanced stuff, because the way the site works is a lot more advanced than before, spending some time with Frederic just as a backup, not as anything else. And in addition, also creating like training, not really training, but just how-to videos about certain parts of the website and how to manage those, because it's not always apparent for a more casual person who might have access to be able to edit things on the website. But other than that, that's what we've been up to. So a lot of it is more about filling the gaps and getting some of the old content that we missed. Some links were broken, things like that, which is to be expected when you transfer over the site. But for the most part, I think we got a lot of it in there. And that's it. That's it for me. Any questions?
I just want to say it's gorgeous. So thanks for gorgeous and functional. Thanks for all your work there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for spending time with me on teaching me this stuff. And I'm slowly coming to it.
You're better than you think you are. So stay confident. All right.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Move on. Thank you, Joe. We'll move on to emergency preparedness. Roger, you have a project with PGE. Can you share an update with us?
Yeah, some of us met with the city of Lake Oswego representatives and one person from Portland General. I would say the city is taking us very seriously and doing a good job. They're working, not only it's a citywide issue, obviously, plus cities surrounding, the whole service territory of Portland General. The city is coordinating with other cities around us, which is great. We've seen an uptick in tree trimming. If you look, been around, you've seen a lot more tree trimming. That will help. Portland General really was, in my opinion, was not very responsive. And other than the tree trimming, which is great, we're not going to see anything like undergrounding. There was no commitments or statements about that. No technology fixes. The tree trimming was about it. The other issue I raised was this is the opposite of a winter storm problem, but a summer issue if we have a red flag warning, which is my bigger concern. I did talk to the technical person in the wildfire management program at Portland General directly. This was outside of the meeting. We are not currently in what's called the PSPS, or Public Safety Power Shutoff, which are being used in Oregon now and different parts of Oregon. They've been used for years in California. But he said we could be in one if conditions change. And one of the conditions that we're looking at is why whole trees are starting to come over on a regular basis. And that's for ice in the winter or wind in the red flag warning. So I'm very pleased the city's going to keep on putting pressure on Portland General. That's where it needs to come from, and I'll just keep on working with the city. So I would say some response, but we're not going to see wholesale changes like undergrounding. It's just not practical in terms of cost or anything at this point.
I have a question. Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to underground because that sounds like a huge undertaking. But one concept that you presented, Roger, was that they would change the way the, I'm going to say circuitry works, where not everything would, not so many homes would be on one circuit. I'm probably not describing this well. Did you
That's exactly it, Nancy. There was a discussion. The person that was on the official meeting was from their government and public affairs, so not a technical person. The person I talked to, technically, I'm going to actually follow up with a friend of mine that's an engineer and connect them and try and encourage them to pursue that. And just so you know, Nancy, it's called sectionalizing a circuit. So rather than losing 1,600 customers, you know, if the tree goes down, you might lose everybody downstream of that tree, but everybody upstream, where, you know, if you think about power flowing from upstream to downstream, can be restored more quickly, as opposed to all 1,600 people out for days. And they know that is a solution. That those are not like as expensive as undergrounding, but they're expensive. They were actually doing some work over on South Shore, close to the fire station. I suspect that they were doing some of that already. It looked like they were installing a switch there, which is what they would. That's what you do, is you install switches. So I haven't confirmed that, but it looked like that was what the crew that was installing it went and talked to me. So
well, we can hope, right?
Yeah, we need to improve things. Ultimately, I mean, if you look at what's happening down in Houston, the governor there is involved in the poor performance of the utility. You know, ultimately, you have to really make a stink. And I think that these multi-day outages that we're experiencing every few years are just they're not acceptable. And saying trees go over, well, yeah, trees go over, but there are things that can be done to improve it. We can't make outages go away, but they can improve it. And it costs money, but our bills are going up a lot. You already saw our bills went up 25% last year. We're scheduled for possibly another 7 or 8% increase. And those are not being driven by system maintenance issues. They're being driven by frankly, all the green programs that the state of Oregon is forcing Portland General to do, with a lot of renewables and things like that. So we can put more money into the basic bread and butter of having decent, reliable service, in my opinion, without driving rates up too much. Thanks.
Thank you, Roger.